to add my voice to this very historic debate. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to begin by thanking the mover of this motion, Honorable Senator Muchangwa. It makes me proud that a woman of Zimbabwe, who also happens to be the leader of our Women's Parliamentary Caucus, has led this historic. And I also thank Honorable James Maridadi for seconding this motion and for his persistence to make sure that he brings all the members of Parliament of Zimbabwe, who are all elected to serve Zimbabwe, to put our all the members of Parliament of Zimbabwe, who are all elected to serve Zimbabwe, to put our minds and our hearts together for the progress and the future development of our nation. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak possibly on the very emotional point of Mr. Speaker. The weight of history and the weight of responsibility and the weight of the aspirations and the dreams and the faith and hopes of this nation, that this nation has had from before the industry started, are weighing heavily on me. And I think in this August 8th Parliament, that is this legislation before it, to either allow Zimbabwe to sink into the failed states that the whole world is looking at, or to launch this legislation and release it into the future, or into the promise that this great and beautiful and Western nation has, so that it can head and shoulders and show the potential of each and every one of these gifted and talented people who seem to be progressing at the nation across the world. Mr. Speaker, sir, needless to say, I am in support of this motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I support this motion because, and I want to urge all the honorable members of Parliament to continue doing what we are doing. That is to put our individual opinions behind, our parties behind, and even our preferences behind, and put Zimbabwe ahead. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is my humble submission that it is in the interest of this great giant of a nation waiting to take off and fly to pass this motion and allow His Excellency the President of Zimbabwe to take a dignified and graceful exit from leadership of our nation and allow this country to proceed and therefore be impeached. Mr. Speaker, sir, I do agree that, regrettably, the President of Zimbabwe, in my view, is guilty of serious misconduct. I will say my reasons why I'm supporting this motion. I believe that it is serious misconduct to be in violation of Section 3 of the Constitution of our land, which requires that one of our founding values always be seen as good governance. Mr. Speaker, just walking outside this hotel will show anyone that this country is not being governed well. Just moving around gives the impression that this country is as if we are living in a country that has suffered possibly nuclear or bombing explosions. You walk just outside there near a certain party headquarters. The traffic lights, the lamp poles are all, they are worn out, they are broken, they are not repaired, they are potholes. There's a symptom. Everything, Mr. Speaker said, looks like this country has been ravaged by a storm or by bombs, but it has not been. It is because of the way we government. Mr. Speaker, sir, I believe it's also a symptom of bad governance to burn precious and very scarce tax dollars. We have a very shameful budget of only $4 billion, Mr. Speaker says. When a country like Zambia across the road has a budget of $12 billion, $14 billion, when we, a country that is richer, not only in mineral wealth, but in the human resources that we are sitting around to discuss crumbs of $4 billion that are not enough to do anything. Mr. Speaker said, it is bad governance to burn those scarce taxpayers' dollars in holding party political rallies during business hours. It is no secret, Mr. Speaker, that there have been interfaces and meet the people tours by government ministers led by His Excellency the President and his wife, Mr. Speaker, said during working hours during a week, even a country that has the highest gross domestic product cannot afford to have its leader taking its ministers across the countryside, burning the little dollars that they are when the country is in ruin. Mr. Speaker, it is also bad governance as was said by Honorable Maridadi, to be able to have the privilege of being able to go to the most expensive hospitals such as in Singapore and have the most expensive healthcare when the nationals in the country that we are all governing cannot even afford to buy Panadols. All the people who marched on the street on Saturday, this last Saturday, Mr. Speaker, this historic march, they are tired and they are sick and tired of not having the capacity to get health care. Even in simple council clinics, people are suffering and it is not good governance to then be a leader of a country who is able to get luxury treatment all over when the 12 million inhabitants of your own country are not able to access even basic health care. Mr. Speaker, sir, I believe it is also, I sadly conclude that His Excellency is guilty of failing to obey, uphold, or defend the Constitution. And I will say that, I will just mention a few examples, and that support that he be impeached by this August House. Mr. Speaker, sir, Section 17 of our Constitution requires that there shall be gender balance in all elected and appointed positions. It is no secret, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the President of Zimbabwe appointed his cabinet and initially appointed only 3 women, and he said that there are no women to appoint. Mr. Speaker said that is failure to uphold the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, I will also not speak very much about the issue of falling asleep, but I think we should talk about it. Zimbabwe has become a laughing stock on the world stage because of the fast movement of video images. His recent appearance at the United Nations General Assembly made each and every Zimbabwean cringe with embarrassment. And Zimbabwe if we do not impeach the president, Zimbabwe is going to continue being distinguished for dubious reasons. That is for having a president who sleeps at world functions when the rest of the world is discussing progress. Mr. Speaker, sir, His Excellency is unable to perform the functions of office. He is even forgetting of the other values that require a unity along good governance. He was, for example, I was shocked to hear him mocking the Kalanga people of Zimbabwe, saying that they are uneducated and they go across the borders. Yet he forgets that he is the one who is responsible for spearheading that development that would allow Zimbabwe to stay in their country. He has also threatened High Court judges. I remember when he unfortunately told them that who is it who dares to judge a matter that involves fighting ZANU-PF functions. Mr. Speaker said the head of state must observe the independence of the other branches of government. And Mr. Speaker said recently he even threatened the possibility of free and fair elections in this country by declaring that he is the one who is going to determine who comes to observe the elections of Zimbabwe. And this is in direct contravention of Section 239, subsection 1, which requires that the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is the one that has the authority to accredit observers of elections. Mr. Speaker, sir, and even on dual citizenship, he made embarrassing remarks in South Africa when showing that he is unaware that Zimbabweans are entitled to dual citizenship if they are born in Zimbabwe. Mr. Speaker, sir, His Excellency the President requires to be relieved of his duties. And I end by a quote from William Shakespeare in his speech in Julius Caesar. And it is to august members of this House. He said, there is a tide in the affairs of men and women now that we are gender sensitive, which, taken at flood, leads to fortune. One's life is bound in shallows and misery. This is such a tide, I submit that the Parliament of Zimbabwe must take to impeach His Excellency the President so that our country goes to fortune and is not bound forever in shallows and miseries. Unfortunately, it is time, and for the sake of Zimbabwe to move forward, His Excellency must be impeached. I think.
Thank you.